Hello guys, it's me Lunar, welcome back to another PlayerUnknowns Battlegrounds video for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. In this one I'm going over what are some good sensitivity settings for new players and what to look out for to get the best controls for you, as everyone's playstyle is different. But first I'm going over some of the new features coming to the game in future. When will we see them? Well, it's probably not till next year, but all stuff that arrives on PC is being ported to console, and so new stuff we can take a look at before it arrives. If the video is helpful, a like is appreciated. So PUBG released a new trailer, you can see it playing, and it reveals some interesting new features in the works for the game. I know we don't have a ton of features already on console, but there are 4 more to look out for in the future. The first here is canted sights. You can see from the clip you can equip regular sight and a scope on the same weapon. Pretty interesting to see how that changes things in game. We still don't know if that's only going to be for specific weapons or whether it's only going to be on the new snow map Vikendi. Next, a new weapon, the PP-19 Bison. It's a submachine gun and it has a very rapid rate of fire and a unique look. The magazine on the bottom is cylindrical and it looks like a grenade launcher, so it's pretty cool. Night mode, something we already knew was coming to the game at some point, and we have our first look in the trailer of night mode. Finally, a new leak as well revealing that repair kits might be coming to the game, so you can repair broken equipment like helmets and vests, and also repair vehicles. So yeah, tons of cool stuff to look forward to in the future. I know it's a long way off on console probably, but it's still worth looking out for, and while we haven't played any of it yet, the new snow map does look a lot of fun as well, so I'm looking forward to playing it. Okay guys, a load of new players are playing the PS4 version, and we know from when we started playing, controls are very difficult to understand, and there is no auto aim, and even the slightest change in sensitivity can make a huge difference. Everyone has their best settings, and I'm sure plenty of people will post different views in the comments. However, unfortunately there is no best sensitivity setting for everyone. I played hundreds of variations to test them out, and you might think that using the sensitivity settings of, say, a top 10 ranked player, that will probably be the best ones to use, but that's just simply not how it works. There are some tips you can use to find your own best sensitivity settings, and in this video we're going over some good starting points. These settings might be a bit lower in sensitivity than you might like for someone who has more experience, so if you've already played the game before, then you may want to increase them slightly than what I have them in the video. But let's take a look through them. Controller type, I have this set to B, so that way your aiming down sights and just your general aim are 2 different buttons. I find it just quicker and easier to have them separated than having to tap in order to aim down your sights with just the one button, but that's a personal preference for you. Dead zone, I have this set to 20, but really the setting that you have for this depends on a couple of things. One is your own controller, and the other is the other sensitivity settings that you have, but we will go over that. Vibrations, they're set to off, you don't want to have vibrations messing up your aim. Forward running sensitivity is on default. This is a relatively new setting, and I'm just used to the way the game is already, so I haven't altered this in any way. Movement sensitivity, that's bumped all the way up to 100. I personally think that this should be as high as possible for everyone, as it just makes movement less awkward. However, keep in mind that the setting of this, along with the next setting, vertical sensitivity, can alter other settings, so you want to set these to something and never change them. For vertical sensitivity, I have this set to 90. You want to be able to aim up and down as much as left and right, because there's a lot of roofs and hills and stuff in game, so you need to be able to quickly aim at targets vertically. However, you still want to keep this setting low enough so you can fine adjust your aim a little bit more. So for example, if you're aiming at the chest, you want to bump up to aim at the head, and you don't want to over aim while doing that. And the lower your vertical sensitivity, the easier that will be. In a flat game with very little hills, this would be preferably as low as possible, but in PUBG you have to keep this relatively high. The rest of the settings for now are set at 5, except aim acceleration, which is at 3. This, again, like Dead Zone, is a setting that will be different for other people. It really depends on the other settings that you have, and you will have to fine tune them. But I will go over that in more detail. For scopes, I find these work well at just 5, except the 1 times I have that at 4. I have the 8 and 15 scopes set to 3. So how do you find the best controls for you, using the controls I have as a template? Well, what you're going to do is forget about kills to begin with, join a game or join training, and alter your general sensitivities. This is going to be different for everyone. Some players prefer to play slower, I prefer to play slower. Some players prefer to bump their settings up all the way, and they can spin in circles in fractions of a second. It really depends on your own playstyle and how hard you aim. So what I find the best method to do is have all your settings to what I have them, which is around 5, bump up your movement to 100 and your vertical to 90, and then don't change them after that. Then in game, start lowering or increasing your general sensitivity until movement feels about right or just natural. Or it feels like any other games that you might enjoy playing, like Call of Duty or Battlefield or wherever. Just find a movement speed that feels right. Once you find your preferred general sensitivity, then you need to start altering your dead zone and your aim acceleration. Dead zone, you want to have this as low as possible. It allows for finer adjustments at long range. However, you may experience some controller drift with lower settings, and so not everyone will be able to get these really low. What I do is I try to snipe people at close range, and you can do this in practice. If I'm over aiming while I'm aiming at people, I increase it. If I'm under aiming, I will decrease it. I don't go below 10 though, and I don't go higher than 20. It doesn't have to be perfect. Once I find a setting that feels about right within that range, then I will move on to aim acceleration. I find the best way to test this is any weapon with a red dot. Again, aim at targets and see if you're over or under aiming, and increase or decrease it until you find something that is about right. I will try to keep this as low as possible though. Usually I don't go higher than 4, and I have mine set to 3 currently. Once you've done this, then you have to test out weapons at different ranges, because you can shoot people at close range, medium range, and long range, and your sensitivity settings are pretty much the same for all 3. So you need to find a good balance for all of them. If you feel like your dead zone and your aim acceleration are about right, and it still feels a bit off for some of the different aiming, then what I would try first is to lower or increase the sensitivity for the scope that feels off, rather than adjusting your dead zone and aim acceleration. And that's the way that I find is best in order to get the best sensitivity options for you. It's not perfect because, as I said, you need to take into consideration that you do fight at different ranges and you have different attachments to weapons, and also the more you play, the more that you can use things like your muscle memory in order to get better aim. So you may not find your perfect settings to begin with, you just need to get something that's close enough, and you need to get to the point where you can get at least a couple of kills in a game. At which point it really becomes a situation where if you can get a couple of kills, then maybe it's other things that are stopping you from getting more kills, like your tactics and so on. But guys, remember, this is just a starting point and a method to find your best sensitivity, which is different for everyone, and your own settings will change over time as well. Usually the more you play, the faster you can up your general sensitivity, and you'll need to fine tune your dead zone and aim acceleration all over again. Finally, if you want to change some of the other settings, I have game DVR turned off because this can increase performance. If you want to change to having purple blood, which a lot of people don't know how to do, then you can change your colorblind mode to tritanopia, and it's just as simple as that. And if you're having issues with seeing the crosshair, then you can change the color. Make sure to turn your preferred reset side for your over-the-shoulder aim. Turn off audio, and then you can adjust your brightness to make sure that you can see in dark areas in the game, and that depends on your monitor and TV though, so that will be different for different people. Guys, I hope this video has helped any new players find a starting point on sensitivity settings in game, which are tough to understand. They're completely different for different people. Some people have vastly different sensitivity settings than I showed you in the video, but the method I showed you allows you to change your sensitivity settings by just altering a couple of things rather than loads of stuff, which can throw you off. Subscribe and notifications on so you don't miss any of my PUBG console or Red Dead Online updates. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.